Mark, quite prolific in these games. You scored more goals for the Legends than during your season. Oh, you must enjoy that feeling.
Yeah, that's true. That's the same question that I always ask myself. I'm very happy to be back, happy to score. It's always important. Doesn't matter if it's a charity game. I always take it as a competitive game. I think my teammates as well, and we've shown it. So looking forward for all the games in the future, and keep scoring. That's always important.
Mark, what was it like after a different atmosphere for a Legends game, like a full away end, Celtic fans in fine? Was it look like Stephen enjoyed scoring against them as well?
We all very delighted and happy for all the supporters. It's amazing to see a full stadium for a charity game. It's something that you don't really see every day or anywhere in the world. We're so happy and thankful for all the people that came today and support Liverpool, and for us as well to be on the pitch and see all those supporters, knowing that they donating for people that really need. It's very delightful and we're happy for that.
John, as a former Celtic manager, was it nice to get one over on them, even though it was a Legends game, the win's a win?
No, not at all. What it was nice to see so many Celtic fans turning up for the cause. This is a foundation game, and the work that the Celtic Foundation as well, and what Celtic and Liverpool do in the community, both communities, is apparent. I don't know, 48,000 turning up here, and Celtic had more than 5,000 here. I think they were supposed to have 5,000, but I think if you look in the cup, you'll see a few. Because not only do they support their team, as they always have done, what they do is they support a good cause. And this really is what this is about. So yes, as Mark says, it's great to win the match. And of course, all competitive matches you do want to win. But over and above that is the good work and the amount of money that's going to be raised for causes in the community. So it was fantastic, yeah. And it's good to see all friends. I mean, Paul Lambert I had as a player. You had Tommy Boyd, both assistants. So it's great. Stilian Petrov, I signed Stilian at Celtic, and see what he has done. Particularly coming through his challenges, and of course, so I still have a lot of good friends up there. So regardless of what actually happened, I have fond memories of it.
John, one of the guys touched on it. I think Stephen quite enjoyed that goal. You tell us what he was like.
Well, of course, Stephen is a very, very strong character, so he handles things like that. But he also understands and thanks the Celtic fans for coming down, because that's what it's about. So of course you're going to get stick. He's the Rangers manager, and of course you got Gary McCann, you got Charlie Adam. So you know what's going to happen. But of course they come to support not only Celtic but to support the cause. So I think Stephen was expecting it. So I think he's pleased to put one in. And in fact on the bench, and Stephen Gerrard is probably one of the coolest players ever. And I don't think that he would have been as nervous as taking a penalty against Celtic in front of the Celtic fans, so I think this is probably the most nervous he felt.
What happens in the pitch stays in the pitch.
You played in the Legends game before. You were on the management team today. Was it a part of you that wanted to be out there on the pitch, playing?
Not at all. I remember when the last game I played, I was probably about 47, 48 years old. And the thing about the Legends games when we played, they really just first started, and fans would turn up, and it was great. They turned up to support, they turned up to see. But it got to a stage whereby they also want to see a good game and see a spectacle and see tackles like you saw today. It was like a proper game. And, towards the end, not of today, but when I played, it wasn't as good and as competitive a game as you saw here. And I felt that, it's right for the fans to turn up to support, but you also want to put a good game on. So, of course, it's great to have young players like Mark, because it's a proper game. So, I get tired walking up the stairs now. So, just looking at that game, wishing I was out there. No, I wish I was young enough to be out there, but not playing anymore now.
John, keeping a clean sheet, how nice is that still? And Jason, do you reckon making a save, tipping it over in the final minute as well? Sure,
yeah,
you didn't want to concede at all.
Absolutely, but of course, I know Paul and Tom very well, and they scored a couple of goals which were obviously offside. I think I had a look at the VAR a couple of times, and I think that the natural position for the hand up there, I thought that was a very natural position, so I don't know why they're complaining when they hit the man's hand up there, because that's a very natural position as far as I'm concerned. So while we didn't concede a goal, we're probably a bit fortunate not to concede. But it's a nice friendly match.
John, slightly away from the game today, obviously Harry Kane became England's all-time top scorer the other day. What are your thoughts on Harry and what he's done, and how important has it been for England?
He's been incredible, and I can't speak highly enough of him, particularly the player he has been also for his club. Because of course, they're talking about Harry Kane going to any club, but he's loyal to his club. And for England, every time he plays, he scores. He's 29 years old, so I can see him going on to score another maybe even 20, 25 goals. So he's been very single-minded in front of goal. I mean, they've got some great goal scorers of the past, Wayne Rooney, and you could go back to Jimmy Greaves and other players. So if he'll go down in history, regardless of whether anybody breaks his record or not, as one of England's finest centre-forwards. And I happen to feel that if he then goes on to score many more goals, I really can't see anyone overtaking him. Listen, we've thought about Jimmy Greaves in terms of, but you know, in the next probably 20, 30 years.
John, so Celtic was obviously a club founded out of the need for charity in Glasgow at the turn of the 19th century, the 20th century, sorry. Why do you think so many Liverpool and Celtic fans come out for these kind of games?
Well, if you look at the character of the people from Glasgow and from Liverpool, and as much as a lot of people turn up to these games because it's Liverpool Football Club, I have to make special mention to Everton as well because they are Scousers, and it's a culture of the people to support each other. So yes, it's a Liverpool game, so they're here, but the Liverpool-Celtic connection is very interesting because historically it's always been a Liverpool-Rangers and Celtic-Everton connection. But it's since the King, Kenny Dalglish, came down, this is when the relationship between Celtic and Liverpool, you know, really became solid. But ultimately, yes, it's a charity game, and you're asking a question as to why they do it. And in many respects, it's got nothing to do with Celtic or Liverpool. It has to do with people, the people of Glasgow, the people of Liverpool, who support each other through thick and thin. So, you know, it doesn't surprise me at all.